Happy Tuesday to all of you Vikings fans, and welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to fun one for you guys. We're going to start off by going over the 5 Vikings players and coaches who I believe are under the most pressure for the remainder of this season. And then I do want to talk about a hypothetical for this Vikings team, because obviously it doesn't look good now. Times are tough to be a Vikings fan, but maybe they could turn it around and be like our division rival, the 2023 Packers. I'll explain that on the second half of today's show. But let me ask you guys this. Who is under the most pressure for the rest of the season? You guys got to let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Is it the quarterback, head coach, whoever it may be? Let me know your thoughts down below. Now, I do want to give an honorable mention here first, and that's going to be special teams coordinator Matt Daniels. And for the biggest reason why he's under the most pressure is because if you have a lapse like you did against the Chicago Bears, where they returned the kick all the way to the Vikings 40-yard line, his job is done. The Vikings have been a good special teams team this year, but you cannot just let up a big-time play like that in a big spot. So if this kind of replicates itself, like maybe this week against the Packers, they get a kicked house on them or a punt return to the crib, late in the fourth quarter, I could see his job being on the line. So honorable mention, Matt Daniels. But number 5 on my list, I am going to go with tight end here, T.J. Hockenson. Now, I almost lost my mind when Hawk dropped that one 3rd and 4 out route that J.J. threw to him this past Sunday against the Bears. And listen, Hawk is not the same player that he once was. And I think there's a very good chance that T.J. Hockenson is not with the Minnesota Vikings next year. He's making way too much money. He'll probably end up being a cap casualty, and probably for the right reason. He is just a solid tight end, probably the 20th best tight end in the league. But with how much he's getting paid, I would be shocked if the Vikings want to bring him back. Plus, the Vikings are strapped with cash next offseason. So I think number 87, unless he completely turns it around and he starts dominating, going for 70, 80 yards a game, finds the end zone 5 times for the remainder of the season, T.J. Hockenson is probably off this team heading into next season. But number 4 on my list, I'm going to go with edge rusher here, Dallas Turner. Now, Dallas Turner has obviously been pretty underwhelming to start his NFL career. The Vikings traded up for him to get to the 17th pick in the 2024 draft, and he hasn't lived up to that expectation. But I thought against the Chicago Bears, he was absolutely fantastic. He ended up having 5 pressures on the game, had 1 sack against Caleb Williams. His overall PFF grade was actually the highest of the entire season for Dallas Turner at 72.1. Then his coverage grade, when he did drop back into coverage, he was fantastic. Had that 1 batted ball. He honestly has had 2 great batted balls over the past 2 weeks that both almost resulted in interceptions, but he also had 4 stops in the run game as well. So Dallas Turner was great, and there's no doubt this was probably Dallas Turner's best game of his career. Now, with that being said, the bar was not high. This wasn't a situation where it's like Dallas Turner had, 3-4 sack game in the past. Him just getting a sack, being comfortable in coverage when Brian Flores does drop him in the coverage. He looked a lot better. You kind of felt that juice that he brings, because he's a freak athlete. So just shout out to Dallas Turner. Hopefully he can build off this really good game he had against the Bears, and especially if Jonathan Gennard can't go this weekend against the Packers, or maybe that shoulder injury keeps him out for a couple of weeks here. This will be a big-time opportunity for number 15 and this Vikings defense. But number 3, got to go to the head coach, Kevin O'Connell. Now, Kevin O'Connell, I don't think he has been as bad as some Vikings fans make it out to be this season. I honestly chalk up majority of the offensive struggles just to the quarterback position, because it is tough to consistently move the ball when you're getting the quarterback play the Vikings have gotten. Now, has KOC done the best job of setting J.J. McCarthy up for success? I don't necessarily think so, but I do think majority of the blame falls on the quarterback. And, if this team does crumble, and let's just say we only end up winning 5 to 6 games, and we're picking 10th, 11th here in the NFL draft with the amount of talent you have on this football team, regardless of the quarterback play, I will start to have my doubts about Kevin O'Connell, because I want to see, number 1, will this team quit? Will this team roll over, or will they stay motivated to just keep on putting good football out there on tape, or will they kind of just feel sorry for themselves and say, hey, this season was a loss, let's pack it in? So can he keep the locker room bought in? Yeah, that is a huge question, because we've never really been in this situation with KOC. Now, even in that 2023 year, the Vikings were actually 7-6 with Nick Mullins, with Jaron Hall, and then they end up losing their last 4 games, falling to 7-10. But now with you being 4-6, can KOC potentially spark this team like LaFleur did with the Packers back in 2023? That's going to be a huge question I'm hoping we get the answer to for the remainder of the season. But you guys give Kevin O'Connell a grade so far this season as a Vikings head coach. I think it's probably a B-, C+ year. I don't think it's, anywhere near like C-, D+, but he definitely hasn't been good. So if you guys could grade the Vikings head coach, Kevin O'Connell, down below in the comment section. Now, I do want to give a massive, massive shout out on today's show to our sponsor, and that being Harry's. They're a shaving company, and they have some sweet razors for you guys. And for a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. Now, I have used the Harry's razor before, and it has completely changed how I viewed shaving my face every single day. Because in the past, I had some old razors that got dull way too fast, plus they started to irritate my neck. And also, sometimes it would be $30 for 8 refills, and that was a total scam. But that's not the case here at Harry's. And I was completely blown away my first time shaving with Harry's Plus. They have an advanced pivoting system to reach every corner of your face, a refined blade tech for a closer, smoother shave, and a weighted metal handle, which is actually Harry's heaviest handle ever, for added control and comfort. So for a limited time, our listeners here at Vikings Now can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. This set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, 1 refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head to harrys.com/chat to claim this offer. After you purchase, that's where you heard about them. Please support our show, Vikings Now by Chat Sports, and tell them we sent you. But this link for you guys is in the comment section and description of today's show. All right, number 2 on my pressure rankings list. You got to go with the GM here, and that's Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. And for the biggest reason is you got to start to see something from these younger guys or these free agent additions. Because, let's just say the Vikings, hey, they go 6-11 to finish out the year. And guys like Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, Will Fries, Ryan Kelly don't show you anything. Well, that's your main free agents that you picked up this past offseason, and that would look like a terrible free agency class. And we obviously know his struggles drafting throughout his tenure as a Viking GM. Like, we don't see a whole lot from this roster. We're doubting the talent on this team. Even a contract like the Byron Murphy extension this offseason, he hasn't lived up to that. So I think a lot of pressure is on Kwesi to see a lot out of his guys that he brought in, that he drafted, that really haven't been living up to expectations. But no shocker here on number 1. It's obviously the quarterback, and it's J.J. McCarthy. Now, I think J.J. has a lot to prove, mainly, within the own building. And I think, obviously, fans, they're going to feel a certain type of way about J.J. no matter what happens. But the big question with J.J. is, can he get Kevin O'Connell to believe in him and believe in his development moving forward? Can he get this whole Vikings front office or even his teammates to believe in him to maybe get the Vikings back to playoffs the following year if they can't get back there this season? So obviously a lot of pressure on number 9, and I'll kind of explain why if he turns it around, Vikings could still go on a run. But we'll talk about that here in a second. But are you guys waving the white flag? Is the Vikings season over? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I don't think it is. It's got to take it week by week, start in Green Bay, and potentially get a win over the Packers, even though it is Toyota-thon starting on Wednesday, so that's not good news for Jordan Love playing against this Vikings defense. So we'll talk about it here. Never mind. Brain fart right there. Is the Vikings season over? Y for yes, N for no. All right, let's talk about this. So I saw this floated out there on social media. I wanted to dive into it a little bit. Pretty much the question, can the Vikings be the 2023 Packers? So this Packers season, this was when Jordan Love, first year starting, they went into Dallas and won a big-time playoff game against a 12-win Dallas Cowboys team, which was the 2 seed in the entire conference. But very similar to the Vikings starting off this year, the Packers are actually worse. The Packers started off this season with a 3-6 record, and the Vikings obviously right now 4-6. But the Packers, they went on a massive run, winning 6 of their last 8 games. They finished up with a record of 9-8, including 1 playoff win over the Dallas Cowboys. Now TBD where the Vikings end up finishing. But a big reason for why the Packers went on this run and why they were able to be so successful is because in the first half of the season, Jordan Love was not playing good football. He was struggling. Packers fans were saying, God, we waited all this time. We waited 3 years for this guy, and he looks terrible. But then at the second half of the year, Jordan Love took his play to the next level, and he was absolutely fantastic. So a big difference between the Packers in the first half of the year and the second half of the year was Jordan Love. So, obviously now with the Vikings situation, you have a young quarterback, first year starting in J.J. McCarthy, can he do the same thing? Can J.J. turn this around, start playing some good football? Because there's no doubt, with the 2023 Packers and the 2025 Vikings, there's talent on the roster. You got a good coaching staff, but the quarterback play has been so bad with the Vikings so far this season, And with the Packers back in 2023, it just takes a flip of the switch there, and hopefully the Vikings can go on a run. So some more similarities here. That's like I was saying, first year starting QBs. Obviously, Jordan Love's out his first 3 years. JJ had to miss his first year with that torn meniscus, but you got two offensive-minded head coaches, top of the league. Kevin O'Connell and Matt LaFleur, both teams did have some great weapons. And even the Packers defense back in 2023 was really solid. So you got two good defenses, you got weapons, you got offensive-minded head coaches. And then also at the bottom, the NFC North that year, it was wide open because that was when the Vikings were with Nick Mullins, Josh Dobbs. They were having an off year. The Lions ended up winning the division this year with 12 wins. But again, there was no true dominant team that year. Lions ended up pulling away. But now with this year, I mean, the division, it is tight. Like, I understand the Bears are 7-3. Do I think the Bears are going to be a 12, 13-win team? Absolutely not. I think they'll probably be around 8, 9 to 10 wins as their schedule gets a lot tougher. But the Lions got their problems. The Packers got their problems. So there are some similarities. But again, comes down to this top one. Can J.J. McCarthy do what Jordan Love did for the second half of the year? So we appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Tough times here, but we'll be all right. So if you guys could, give me those goals down below in the comment section. We'll get on out of here. Let's go Vikes.